Hello, everybody, and happy holidays on this late December, early January morning. Full disclosure, it's a pre-tape. We're all elsewhere, but the news train keeps on rolling. We're driving it. We're the conductor of this news train, or at least I am for this episode. I am joined by an amazing panel, Cameron Rice. Cameron.
Hello, hello.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Emma Fyffe.
Hello out there in the world. Happy almost or barely January.
And Ed Greer.
Hey guys, I'm gonna keep the hot takes all year.
Oh, the hot takes are rolling into 2020, guys. We are looking ahead to 2020, to the year that is upon us. There are, as always, so many movies that we know about, so many more that we don't know about. We can't talk about those because we don't know about them. But today we're going to talk about just some of the films that we are excited about in 2020. I'm going to be selfish and start because there's one movie that's on my list that is the number one tippy-top must-see list. If you know me, you know I love Edgar Wright. So last night in Soho, Edgar Wright's next film, Last Night in Soho, which he describes as a psychological horror movie set in the 60s. Yes, yes, and yes, please.
Yeah.
I am super excited for that. I know how much he loves Suspiria and those kinds of films, and I'm pumped for this.
Yeah, I enjoy Edgar Wright as a filmmaker and the way that he plays with existing genres.
Yeah.
I remember when I saw Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, I was like, well, this movie was made specifically for me, and just the way that I don't know, he makes such a good use of the medium of film. You know what I mean? I feel like he allows all of his films to live in this fantasy world of this is about things that, there's an element of the fantastical alongside the mundane is something that I think Edgar Wright does extremely well. And so I'm also very much looking forward to this film.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because we kind of got to see a glimpse of stuff in Don't, his trailer for Grindhouse, which was 60s British horror.
Totally.
So this is a full-length version, not of Don't, but a full-length version of that sort of idea. I love that. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming next year. It's hard. I think though, my tippy. If we're going tippy tops,
we're gonna go tippy tops first. We're gonna go what's on the tippy top of your list.
I know what mine is,
and we'll work down from there.
Yeah, and I think we might have the same one, so I'm gonna let you probably take that one.
Okay.
And if it's not, I'll be so mad. But honestly, I think the one I am actually probably the most excited for of everything is I'm really, really excited for Halloween Kills. I'm really excited to see what they do. And I had some issues with the last Halloween.
Sure.
In a big way.
Yeah.
I felt like it was good, not great.
I'm with you.
I agree. It was enjoyable.
Not great, didn't hate.
Yep.
But I'm very interested to see what they do. Is here's the continuation, and it's already they're filming the third part of it as well. So I'm okay, what is this kind of interesting thing that you're gonna do? I really loved the cast in the last one. So if they're bringing back, we know Jamie Lee Curtis is back. Is the whole family unit back?
I think the daughter and the granddaughter are both back for this one.
Yeah, I need my Judy Greer.
Yeah.
I need her. I need her in my life.
And she was really good.
She loved Judy Greer.
Yeah.
But truly, actually, the main reason is because it's a new Carpenter score, and that's the main thing for me. I love me some John Carpenter scores. Gimme.
Yeah, that was the main thing I liked about when you mentioned the Edgar Wright movie. The soundtrack that Edgar Wright's going to drop on a 60s psychological thriller. Oh, some Ronette song playing while somebody's going crazy. That's nuts, man. That's going to be really great. Yeah. And and Halloween, I just watched on Nerd Goat podcast. We had a guy come on. We had Adam Lavick. He did Laurie Strode, and I watched every Halloween thing.
Oh dear.
I'm so sorry.
To be fair, I watched 1 and 2, skipped everything until the Halloween.
Then
that's fine.
I'll tell you this. You throw in H2O?
No. H2O is too brightly lit. You can look at the box and look. It's too 90s horror.
H2O does not hold up as much as
so 90s.
But I'll say, give 3 a poke. The non-Michael Myers one is actually a lot of fun. It's very Carpenter produced it, does the score. It feels like a hidden John Carpenter gem.
And that was also correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was kind of the original concept behind Halloween was that it was going to be an anthology series.
Too ahead of the time.
It was.
No, dude.
Ed, what's your tippy top? Tell me what your tippy top is.
Okay. I am the worst person. Okay. My tippy top, because I'm a fat man of a certain age, is G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe Ever Vigilant. Number one.
Yeah, that's a great title.
What a title.
Wow.
Most ridiculous title in the United States. Number two, I just think it's one of those things where this is the last gasp. This is Hasbro and them working it out, seeing if they can make these properties work. And I think if John Wick taught us anything, it's if your world is ridiculous and stupid and has a bunch of violence in it, stare right into that camera.
Yeah.
Lean into it and say, no, this is how it goes. Here's a gold coin for one body. Here's a gold coin for a car. Who cares? Let's get nuts.
Yeah.
That's what this sort of genre stuff does. If they took it seriously, like I think Stephen Sommers didn't take G.I. Joe seriously, which obviously who would, but some dork would.
But it's almost like I get what you're saying, Ed, of like you have to play this very over-the-top, ridiculous situation totally straight. But at the same time, it's like not taking the movie not taking the premise too seriously.
Exactly.
But the people in the world need to believe that world.
These are semi-realistic people living in a ridiculous world.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know until you said. I knew about the Snake Eyes movie they were making.
Yeah, that was my
you
thing.
said that title. I had no idea they were making another G.I. Joe.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
clue.
Is this the Snake Eyes movie and they changed the title?
I think this is basically the Snake Eyes movie because honestly, everybody knows Snake Eyes is the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Silent
it isn't
Ninja.
like music.
Oh,
You don't
yeah.
just take Beyonce and she gets to be as big and as good as a group.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 in team stuff, it doesn't work that way. So, but much like Wolverine, if you focus the X-Men movie around Wolverine, people tend to dig it.
That is true. Yeah, because I mean, you look at like the first X-Men movie in particular. Like it's a Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
There are just other X-Men in it.
Yeah.
Emma, what's your tippy top? Let's see if you make Cameron angry.
Mine is Dune.
All right, there we go. Good.
Can we get a single?
No, that was real. I just didn't want to clap loudly.
No, Cameron knew mine was Dune.
Because mine was Dune.
Literally talk about it all the time. I love Dune. I love the David Lynch Dune unapologetically. I love the book Dune.
House Harkonnen.
And when I have to tell you, when I was sitting in the theater watching Blade Runner 2049 at about 2 hours and 9 minutes, thinking, this movie's kind of long, but I'd watch 9 hours of this. I'd really like to see Denis Villeneuve direct Dune. Like, literally, that was my thought process.
All together.
And then not long after that, all of my dreams started to come true. The cast is unbelievable.
Everyone.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think everyone is.
I
in
think
Dune.
at the point that we're recording this, we still don't know. The question that I have been asking is who's playing Fade Routha? Who's playing Sting in this movie? I need to know.
We still don't know.
I just think that particularly based on Blade Runner 2049, which is this very thoughtful science fiction piece. I mean, even all the scenes where they're like in the desert at the ruins. I just, to me, that read this guy needs to direct Dune, and here we are.
Is Deakins DPing that? Do we know if it's
I think
Roger
so,
Deakins?
because he basically works with Roger Deakins all the time. So I'm 90% sure that he is.
Roger Deakins, who should win the Academy Award this year
100%.
for 1917. If he doesn't win the
yes.
Academy Award for cinematography this year, something's wrong.
Well, he finally won it for Blade Runner, so he broke the streak
It's
of
so
never
true.
winning.
He should win it every year.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Well, he's like a modern Conrad Hall. So,
Yeah, he
is.
He's just great like that. Like, just Will Chamberlain of light.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's another director who you may have heard of, who's got a movie coming out in July called Christopher Nolan.
Oh, yes.
Tenet, this which we know, much like Dune, we know precious little about, except that it's an action film.
Yep.
Supposedly, you got John David Washington, you got Robert Pattinson, you got Elizabeth Debicki, who was a great breakout star in the last couple of years. You got Kenneth Branagh. Throwing a little Michael Caine always, but we don't know anything about it.
Yeah, just the cast.
It's coming it's coming in that July Nolan sweet spot.
Yeah.
And it's got it's expensive to make and to see. That's not Christopher Nolan can't control that.
No.
I don't know. What do you
That's all
guys
him,
think? We have a mystery. No, we got a mystery Nolan film. Although by this time, probably the time this airs,
I know.
we'll know everything about it.
There'll be 25
sitting right here
trailers.
today, we don't know much.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't there yesterday or the day before? There was talk about when we're recording this. There was talk that there might be a trailer connected to the IMAX Star Wars screenings.
Okay. Well, then we'll
That
definitely
seems very
know
Nolan.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So join us in the past here, where we know
Come on a journey.
Nothing. But sort of know a little bit more about as of today is the new Bond film, which I am looking forward to. What is it? No Time to Die?
No Time to Die.
No Time to Die.
No Time for Love, Dr. Jones.
Yeah.
Cary Fukunaga is directing it, which I am excited about. And also Ana de Armas, who was in Blade Runner 2049 and in Knives Out, is in the film, and she had a cool sequence in the trailer where she was like fighting with two really big guns in a great dress. So I'm in.
No, those are two big ones for me because they're both. I think as far as we know about Tenet right now, it seems to possibly be a spy or espionage movie.
Sure.
And Nolan has always said he was wanted to do James Bond.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, hey man, if this is what you would have done with John David Washington as the lead,
Right.
rad.
Yeah.
And even Nolan movies, maybe like I'm not the biggest fan of. They stick with me. I still think about them, and not many directors can do that.
Yeah.
Even the ones where I'm like, I didn't like that. I can still have conversations with
Dude,
people.
I wake up at night sometimes thinking about that van dropping off the bridge. I'm just like, wow,
yeah.
is the van still dropping?
Forever.
Is the van still dropping? Just Hans Zimmer's genius scores.
But Bond is also interesting because Cary Fukunaga, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is the first American director to do a Bond movie.
I do believe that you are correct.
Irving Kershner did Never Say Never Again, which is not Eon.
Technically, canon.
Yes, it's not canon.
Yeah,
it's not canon
non-canon.
in the Bond cinematic universe.
And it's also interesting because Cary Fukunaga is kind of known for being a director who really like has a precise vision and what he wants to do, and that's usually that's why he didn't do it. That's why he doesn't do all these other projects.
Yeah.
Is he was gonna do them, and then the producers and creative differences. So I remember when he was announced, a lot of people were like, "Oh, he's not staying on."
No,
He's Mr. Creative Differences. He has such a vision. Well, Eon doesn't let people just do what they want. And now we got a trailer that looks bomb, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and the one thing, finishing up the Bond talk, one thing I really liked about the trailer that we saw a while back is that
like a month ago, practically.
Right, they explained something of some of the stuff we've always been speculating in our speculation business about what's the nature of the 00 program, the female James Bond, female 007, his relation to her, is it acrimonious, I think a lot of that's answered in the trailer sufficiently, and I love me a good motorcycle stunt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. One in that trailer that came out a month ago.
Yeah. And there'll probably be some new stunts in whatever you're watching right now.
And also Fleabag writer.
Oh, yeah, Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge is the writer.
She's one of the writers on
And
it.
also you can tell how, I'm sorry, I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to be performative, woke, fake feminist person. But more... let's 50-50 it. More chicks got to talk and do stuff in this trailer than the last 3 or 4 Bond iterations at all.
Yeah.
Maybe this recent ones, they're a little bit more. They get to do stuff.
Yeah.
But the last 3 or 4 iterations, maybe up to this one, I've seen more women talking and actively doing in that trailer.
Are you saying that you don't think that nuclear scientist Dr. Christmas Jones, played by Denise Richards, didn't get much to do?
She came twice a year.
Because she was having sex with a misogynist. But yeah.
And let's get off this topic.
Let's plow through like a misogynist will.
I'm going to be a conversation misogynist, and we're going to continue past this. And give me something else. Give me something else you're excited
Get me off the list.
Okay. Before we get to stuff that's totally, utterly ridiculous, and I don't get it. Like, what the hell?
You don't get it?
Because that's going to be a nice section. But we have a little list here. One thing I got to say, just for my personal whatever. I want to see Godzilla versus King Kong. I know these are weird choices, but it's like Godzilla versus King Kong. A lot of the dorks who like the big monsters have talked relentlessly about the differences in their scale. But I don't find that a problem. Give me King Kong running up, Godzilla's chest and throwing bombs in his mouth or whatever. Get nuts. I don't care.
Well, Kong is supposed to be the same size now. That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's why Kong Skull Island Kong was so big.
Yeah. I don't know. It still doesn't look as big. He doesn't. He still doesn't as big as
Yeah.
But again, I don't really care about that. I would like to see them again stare into that camera and go, "There's a big monkey and a big lizard. Care about it." You know what I mean? I want them to do that because and this is the same guy directing it. Do we know?
No, so that's the thing. It's Adam Wingard who's like, I'm really rooting for him, man, because I really loved The Guest. And I love.
Because if you say the live action Death Note movie, you need to leave.
No, that's the thing. I'm rooting for that guy, man, because I loved Your Next. Your Next was so good.
Yeah.
The Guest was so good, and then his next two was The Blair Witch, and then Death Note. So he's had two, for me, all-timers, and then two pretty rough. So I'm rooting for the guy, man.
Right.
I want him to have like a big, massive win on a big scale.
Emma, what's something else you?
Well, listen,
you're
I
hyped
don't
for?
get excited about Disney live action movies normally. However, I am very much looking forward to Mulan. I really like that they're going down the path of exploring the actual sort of folklore surrounding that character. Not that they didn't in the animated film. And let me be very clear. I love the animated film of Mulan. But to me, this feels like they're taking the opportunity to do something that's actually quite different from the animated film, which my biggest complaint about most of the live actions is they're just translating animation to live action, and sometimes it's not actually live action.
Yeah.
Looking at you,
Animation to
Lion
animation.
King.
Yeah.
It's just another form.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that movie. The trailer got me very emotional.
The trailers have been very epic.
Cameron.
So one that's not on the list, I kind of want to throw out to a little indie thing. Wendy by Ben Zeitlin. Ben Zeitlin, who did.
Yes, I just saw a trailer for that recently.
Oh man, I loved Beast of the Southern Wild.
Yes.
And it felt like every once in a while I'd kind of look up. I'm like, is that guy working on anything else? Was it one of these like indie guys who did one movie and then disappears for a little while? And I know when the trailer came out, a lot of people like the immediate headlines were like another Peter Pan thing. But if you see the trailer,
No, it's not really
more
that.
using the title as like ironically to some extent.
Yes.
But it's Ben Zeitlin, and it's about a young girl who kind of goes on this adventure with all these like runaway boys, and it's kind of like the Lost Boys kind of a thing. But it looks magical and whimsical. And again, I adored Beast of the Southern Wild. It kind of reminded me both of like. When I saw it, Beast of the Southern Wild, it kind of made me think like it's a mix of like Terry Gilliam, but like weird, interesting handheld, like these magical realism things happening to a child, and how do they process sadness and grief and death and all this destruction around them. So I'm very, very, very excited for Wendy, and I feel like people are going to totally sleep on it.
Yeah.
I want to talk about a movie that has been in process since I was a child.
I know where
Literally.
Literally.
Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Oh yeah.
Made for us oldies. As we're getting older. Are we millennial? We're kind of millennial. We're right in the middle. I don't know.
I'm a millennial, pretty
Yeah,
solid.
I think I'm technically a millennial, but yes, harkening back to the days of our youth. These go bad so often, but
do
you've
go
got the
bad
original.
so
You've got the
often.
original writers coming back.
Yep.
They wrote the first. You have Dean Parasote, who did Galaxy Quest and some other good movies. So it's like I don't know what to think. Part of me doesn't want to be hurt. Part of me wants to shield myself from this because I love the first two movies. I love that Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is completely different from the first one.
Yeah.
Completely. I love that. So part of me is like hell yes, but then another part of me is like. I don't want to.
There's the concern. There's
I don't
always
want to
the
open my
concern.
heart again.
I think to your point,
Don't make me love Bill and Ted.
Dumb and Dumber, and they've all disappointed me almost.
I was going to say, to your point, Dan, the fact that the first two films are so completely different from one another does give me a little more hope that this might go right.
Yeah.
Also, if this inspires them to finally bring back the dang Bill and Ted show at Halloween Horror Nights, it was all worth it. It was all worth it.
It might.
Yeah, it could.
Bill and Ted is pretty interesting. I think, like, to me, because reading about it, it just sounds it sounds a little bit like a fictionalized version of Anvil, the story of Anvil.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Oh my God, Anvil! Please, if you haven't seen that, watch that.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But these two aging rock stars. But I don't know like the concept. I've kind of been not avoiding things, but I'm kind of like I kind of want to be surprised to see the trailer. But it sounds like it's like the two guys. Like I don't know if they ever made it, if Wild Stallions became a thing, or it's more like they're stuck at home and it's like, well, it'll never happen for us.
Yeah.
My only thing is because time travel is such a part of that first movie. Part of me is like, oh, don't do de-aging. Don't run into young Bill and Ted.
But
you don't have to do it on Keanu.
Exactly.
True.
Literally.
You know what? But either
Not as much.
Yeah.
Give him a wig.
Yeah.
yeah, but either way, this seems to be kind of like they're Irishmen. Like this is our treatise on this sort of story about these sort of characters, and this is us at the age that we are. You know what I mean? That's kind of interesting.
And that's the thing. Like I'm looking forward to that more so than I'll say Maverick.
See, I'm looking forward to Maverick.
I think I'm on the Dan train. I'm on the Dan train. Like I have
It looks really cool.
a need for speed.
See, here's the thing: is like I love me some Tom Cruise. I'm not an anti-Tom Cruise guy. I love Tom Cruise. I think to me though, when I saw that first trailer, I was kind of just like, huh. And we haven't seen a second trailer, and the first trailer is really more of like he's back, like an announcement. It's all dramatic, which is fine. I'm not saying you need to kick in with the '80s cheese, but part of me is like, so many people's love of Top Gun is that kind of weird cheese. The homoerotic cheese. And I'm kind of like, once you start treating homoerotic cheese like this is a serious, sad movie with sad piano music, I'm like, ooh, do you not know what Top Gun is?
But Top Gun was a serious sad movie with sad music.
Yeah.
Well, I think like, I think there's a reason there's like,
But
it's got a layer to it. There's a reason there's a Top Gun Live, the same reason there's like Point Break Live. And I love Point Break.
Sure.
But if they came out with Point Break 2 and it was like sad piano music and like Keanu Reeves is all sad, I'd be like, this isn't why people like Point Break.
I understand.
Well, he's just nursing his knee. It's hurts so bad in my old age.
Yeah.
I can tell it's gonna rain. I don't know if I.
Why are you in the same position, Johnny Utah?
I was gonna say, I think there's some like charm about like the way drama was handled in the 80s. Like, unless it was a very specific style, like historical kind of drama, your sort of baseline drama of the 80s, there is something that is, I think it's honestly just like really sincere, and that's kind of what makes Top Gun work. And I do worry that like in our current age, that sort of sincerity doesn't translate. I don't know.
Tom Cruise can sell it though. Tom Cruise can sell anything, and I honestly think.
Oh, not the Mummy.
The Mummy. The Mummy was made by committee. The Mummy was everything, and he was part of the committee. I'm not excluding him.
He was on that board. He was in the boardroom.
Chairman of the committee that made the Mummy.
Yeah.
But he's been very precious about Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
and they've
that's
done
fair.
very well with Mission Impossible. And I think that like this movie, they haven't done one in 30 years, and like, you know, in 140 years when Tom Cruise dies, even with all of the amazing parts that he's played, I really think the picture they're going to run on the news is him in the jacket with the thumbs up in front of the flag. And so part of me says that, like, I don't necessarily think he would do this unless he was somewhat confident that this was going to be, and I mean, the trailers look so cool.
I mean,
the flag looks cooler in this one than it did.
And I agree with that. I think and it's not their fault. Nothing they can do about it. But to me, I'm like, oh, you don't have Tony Scott.
Well, yeah.
Well,
And that, no one can help that.
No.
But that is one of those things where I'm like, man, the first one is such Tony. It's sort of, and I'll say this is a movie I am looking forward to. I really am looking forward to Bad Boys 3. But you can tell it's not Michael Bay.
Well, see, I was going to say that I got the same thing because I saw the trailer for the latest trailer for Bad Boys 3. I was in the theater, and there's like a CGI explosion, and I was like, no.
I'm out.
No, sir. if there's anything antithetical to Bad Boys, that it's like there's like CG explosions and like CG helicopters crashing. I'm like, that is the most anti-Bay. Like, so I feel a little bit about Bad Boys, like you feel about Top Gun, which is I'm just like, no Michael Bay. I'm sorry, he was so integral.
No Bay,
to
no
that.
pay.
No Bay, no pay.
You know, I gotta say, as I become a dumb old man, I'm loving how we're obsessed with dumb old men now. Like if you were a superhero when you were 20, well, I care when you're 50.
Well, yeah, our grandpas were obsessed with John Wayne until he,
Robert Mitchum kept solving crimes.
No, I'm saying I just think we need to. I think it's something that our ancestors or whatever respected. The people who came before us. The people who came before us seem to be okay with people getting old.
Right.
And then somewhere along the line, 60s, 70s, it started being real gauche to get old. In the 80s, it started getting real gauche to get old. And then now it seems to be ungauche again.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I think that's kind of cool.
I do like that there are more stories nowadays that we see on film or on television about people who are middle-aged as opposed to just like young hot people.
And I really, if I had the Beyonder's powers or the Infinity Gauntlet, and I had to use it on something utterly stupid but progressive, I'd snap my fingers and put Kelly McGillis in that movie as his ex-wife. Yeah. And he's just like,
do you think she's gonna cameo? Are they keeping it?
I don't think so. She's been quite vocal in interviews about, hey, they don't like the fact that I got old. Sorry.
Yeah.
Gravity,
the
life.
People would not be kind. mind, unfortunately.
Yeah.
She's in a great vampire movie called Stakeland. Y'all go search out Stakeland. It's dope. She's great
I've
in it.
seen that. Yes.
Yeah.
And so like I would snap my fingers to do that because the relationship between the like, ooh, and he's trying to pretend he's hot and young. He's like, he's got hemorrhoid cream in one of his jacket pockets, but he's still with this hot young thing trying to ride his motorcycle. The arthritis is getting in his hands and wrists. And meanwhile, his age-appropriate ex-wife is just like, see, I told your ass 20 years ago you was too old to get on the bike. Now your ankle's messed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would just love to see that conversation.
I would love that too.
Emma, what's something else that you're excited for? Then we're going to do some speed rounds.
Okay, coming out in February, The Invisible Man.
Speaking of the Mummy.
Yep, speaking of the Mummy and the failed
Reverse this plan.
Wait, what were they trying to call it? The Dark Universe.
I've heard that globe might be spinning back around. I've heard the Dark Universe may not have gone into the black hole.
But I have to tell you, I am a big fan of the classic Universal monsters.
Yep.
So everything about me really wants this to work.
Same.
Yeah, it looks like the very modern.
Yes.
I don't know that's overused.
No, I
but
know.
it looks
Right.
like in the best way they've taken that and really embraced the horror of it.
And this is the one about it's psychological, right? It's like
Yeah.
people are not believing that
Yes.
she's being
They don't
stalked
believe
by
her.
an
They think
invisible
she's
man.
gone insane.
Yes.
I love that because it harkens back to a pretty ridiculously horrible movie, like horrible as in horrifying. The Entity. If people remember that movie,
Yeah.
there was this ghost.
Barbara Hershey.
He kept menacing Barbara Hershey. Let's just leave it at that. And it was like she tried to get researchers and smart people and Ghostbusters of the day to help her with this thing that nobody believed in. And when it turned out to be real, it was too much for everybody. You know what I mean? So I think that's pretty cool.
All right, let's speed through some more. Ed, you just name dropped something. Speaking of Ghostbusters, believe it or not, there's another Ghostbusters movie coming out this summer.
Yeah,
No franchise can die.
I didn't. Of all the franchises that can't die, I guess it would be that one, right?
Yeah.
I am not interested in that. I don't care about it.
Ed's not interested. Cameron?
I am interested. I do like Reitman's movies for the most part. So there's an interest to me. He does great character work, and I think the idea of concentrating seemingly on a family, and I'm like, good, smart. If you're getting out of New York and concentrating on a family, but then every article has to be like, oh, the originals are coming back. Don't worry. And I'm like, I don't need them to come back.
I like him as a director. I've met him on the scene and stuff. He's cool.
I love
but
Tully.
It's this.
I know,
I don't know
I
if
know.
it's.
I feel utterly neutral about Ghostbusters.
neutral.
Yeah. And I love the first two Ghostbusters movies. I really do. But
I'm curious and open to
All right.
that. All right, because we have to pay the bills,
Yes.
let's go through the comic book movies.
Yeah.
Quickly. First up in February, we got Birds of Prey.
Woo, I'm actually really looking forward to Birds of
subtitle.
Prey.
Yeah, Birds of Prey. I think it looks fun.
yeah, it's really fun.
Ed?
I would say that looks fun. I would also say another comic book movie, Antebellum. I think Antebellum looks really good. I just wanted to mention that before we got out of this whole section.
Great call.
Before I forgot.
We won't end on comic books.
Yeah, but before I forgot, because I just think it's one of those things where it's a nice reversal of some of the things we've seen before. Some of the horror that has been visited upon certain people being visited upon other people. I think it's quite interesting and just mwah.
In April, the Charlie Brown football of comic book films, The New Mutants. Is it coming to theaters?
I thought that's what you were talking about when you were saying a movie that's been being made since I was a baby. I thought this was what you were talking
that too.
about.
Yeah. New Mutants. What do you think? Do we see it?
Is it actually going to come out?
It's on the schedule as of today. Oh boy, we're setting ourselves up for failure here.
That's you're right
As
about that
of
football.
today and us sitting here, it is on the schedule, and maybe we already look dumb.
No, I'm sitting on top of Snoopy's house looking at that. looking at you.
You're just watching Charlie Brown getting ready to kick that football.
Yep.
Emma, what do you think? Is it coming to theaters?
No.
No.
Two theaters? No. Dropped on a
no
Hulu at some
theaters.
point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, in May, we've got Black Widow coming out. That's the big Marvel May drop.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think? Yep.
I'm in.
Should be fun.
And Black Widow, I think I said it on a SJU that they will remember by this time. It's just a real cool exploration of what humans can do.
Yes.
A superheroic situation that humans can handle.
Yeah.
Let's explore that.
And
I
it's
love
got
that.
a great cast.
I'm very excited for David Harbour.
Yeah, my baby Rachel Weisz is in there.
And Florence Pugh.
Who's so
Come
good.
on.
Yeah, Florence
so
Pugh is
good.
everybody's new baby. I'm talking about my old baby. Trusted and true.
Don't throw out old
I
baby.
actually really love Rachel Weisz.
Yeah.
In June, we got Wonder Woman 1984, pushed back from this year to this upcoming summer.
I'm waiting for a trailer. I'm excited for it,
yeah,
but
I'm
I'm
excited
waiting
for it
because
too.
all visuals, all we have right now is like some stills and then the poster.
Unless
And,
it's already out, Cameron.
True.
Right. It's
Probably
probably
is.
a Christmas Day.
Probably is.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure you all enjoyed the trailer.
Only thing I want out of that movie is for it to just not care about what happens between 1984 and now. Don't care. Don't worry about Wonder Woman revealing herself. I don't need a big shimmery memory scene at the end where she's like, I lassoed the world and now they don't remember me until I showed up in the Snyderverse. You're welcome.
Yeah,
No. I hate that.
love the idea of Wonder Woman floating in the atmosphere, lassoing the world, and then spinning it.
You know what? I'd be okay if it's just her and Kristen Wiig, and it's just what was the Madonna movie? Suddenly Seeking Susan.
Yeah,
Desperately Seeking
Susan.
Yeah, just do that.
Yeah.
Who's Johnny?
Great movie.
July, we're going back into the Spider-Verse-ish with Morbius.
No.
Jared Leto vampire.
No, Dan. No. If I had
No?
a roll of newspaper.
Are they gonna put that Spider-Verse colon?
No,
Morbius
dude,
on their
I'm
face?
sorry. Okay, I'm gonna make my stand here. I'm gonna be immensely wrong or mundanely right when I say this. No, Morbius is not interesting. Morbius wasn't interested when I was 7 years old at the barbershop and there was no other comics and he was fighting Spider-Man and I still didn't read it. He sucks. Without Spider-Man, he sucks. He sucks because he's a vampire. Ha, hardy har. It's just so bad. So bad. It's such a bad idea.
All right. Well,
What if it's good?
No, if it's good, you know, a lot of people say if it's good, then I'll happily eat crow.
Yeah.
No, I'll still be mad because
stewing over that crow.
They put more resources into making this turd good.
I need that damn crow.
Yeah.
Ed's gonna be angry at that crow. September, we got The King's Man, another movie that was pushed back.
Which looks the trailer I was really excited about, and I think apparently I didn't know this till recently that like Ray Fiennes is playing Lawrence of Arabia. He's playing Lawrence.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's playing D.H. Lawrence.
I think I read that too.
Yeah, he's playing D.H. Lawrence.
Oh my God. Okay.
Great.
Sure.
That's who I guess the first Kingsman is. And I'm like, I guess a stealth sequel to Lawrence of Arabia? That's a fantasy? Sure.
All right.
I love it.
And then November, we've got in the MCU closing it out with the Eternals. I don't know anything about this. We'll see. I've always been a little, and it's like Metal Gear Solid with me, which we talked about a month ago. Whoops. I've been a little bit of a tougher sell on the cosmic stuff. That being said, it's a great cast. So
It is a great cast.
and a great director, and we'll see.
Well, you know what? I think this might be the first exploration of superheroic ennui. You know, what do you do when you just push the world into another orbit to save some aliens or something? You just sit on your big throne of ancient dinosaur bones, and you know, what do you do? What do you do when you're that powerful? What do you do? I've said it before. You have to displace in the comic books. You have to displace a major amount of their molecules. It's the way that Marvel Universe communicates. They're unbeatable.
Yeah,
every single one of them is unbeatable as that. But they're a family, so there's also must be family structure, family conflict in there. So we could see the first movie about people who can push mountains who kind of just argue in giant hallways. Which might be really cool.
Very Kirby. Very Kirby.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna close it out. Everyone gets to pick one last movie that you want to spy. No, we could be here for 3 hours talking about all this, but we can't do it. One last
So much
movie
pressure.
that you want to spotlight that you're just like, all right, this is when I'm excited. I'll give you guys some time. I'll say what mine is.
Bam.
It's going all the way to the end of the year. Let's hope it stays on the schedule, or I'm gonna be very upset. It's a movie called The Last Duel.
Okay.
Directed by Ridley Scott.
Yes.
Written by and starring Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. It's their first script co-written since Good Will Hunting. They're also going to be co-starring in the movie together. I just like I like the idea. I mean, obviously a new Ridley Scott movie, even though he goes weird into the Maker verse and black goo and playing flutes. I'm still interested when he makes a new movie, and I don't know. Damon and Affleck writing together, starring together, Ridley Scott directing. I think that could be a fun time. Yeah,
Great.
Last Duel. That's mine. It's all the way at the end of the year. So we'll see what happens.
That's a good
You
pull,
never know.
dude.
Yeah, that is a good.
All right.
Good choice, Dan. I am gonna say. I just gotta. I'm so morbidly curious to see Sonic the Hedgehog now, you guys.
No, I'm with Emma now.
I'm sorry. Sonic is great.
Go to a $2 theater.
I know, it's terrible.
See it a month later.
I know, but you guys, Jim Carrey is having such a great time in those trailers.
There's so many reasons why I agree with Emma. There's so many reasons I agree with Emma. Number one, most special effects movies, by the time they show a trailer, they show a trailer because the main character, they barely made it. They barely made the rig.
Right.
They've got 3 seconds of usable footage. They throw in a trailer.
Yeah.
A bunch of dorks don't like it. Then they can go, guess we got to really do the movie. It's like when, I guess like we used to cram right before finals or whatever. So they crammed and they made it decent. I love that. I am super down. And full disclosure, I do know now both screenwriters, and I just want them to win. I want them to win in spite of the world, because I know at some point I'm gonna be in that situation where everybody says that Greer sucks and they're right, but this one time can they be wrong? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I can't do it. Also, based off Jim and Andy, I don't know if Jim Carrey's having a good time.
All right, well, we got The Last Duel and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, okay, I'll do mine because it's
right.
morbid and stupid, and I know cameras will be well thought out and intelligent. A Quiet Place Part 2.
Oh, that was on my list. Thank you.
Yeah, because I just, and I'm not trying to be stark dork about it, but that's my brand. I don't get it. I thought it was perfect. I thought it was perfectly unsolved, perfectly unresolved, a perfect unresolved story. I don't need freaking Jim from The Office to go talk to the president about the freaky monster problem.
Well,
I don't need. I know.
But you know, it's a zombie movie.
You know what I'm saying? I get that, but Emily Blunt, whoever. I don't want Emily Blunt's kid to talk to anybody. I don't want them to meet a whole group of people who are also hella quiet. Like they meet them all on the road and they're just being hella quiet. I don't need that. I don't get it. I don't like it. I don't like C for that reason. There's just all this like where we got to deal with everybody's problem and dramatically in every scene we have to deal with this major issue. Like no, I don't get that. So if it's a good movie, great on them.
I'm very hopeful because Krasinski's back writing and directing, and
now
I
he doesn't
really love the
have
first
he doesn't
one.
have the split focus.
Yeah,
Spoilers.
and the fact that it's Emily Blunt, the kids are back, and it seems like it's very focused on that family unit. And I'm like, and I don't imagine it's going to turn into let's go talk to the president.
I'm sad.
He's got a bunch of beaver pelts on. I am the new president. I am the president. And then they're playing little
Tiny Hail to the Chief on Little League. I'm a little sad that the 80s style convention of naming sequels has largely gone away, that it's The Quiet Place Part 2.
Oh,
and it's
I
not like
know.
Another Quiet Place or A Quieter Place.
Quieter place.
I'm actually kind of glad they used part 2 because now no movies want to use part 2.
Or like
That's true.
Everyone wants to be colon.
It's like A Quiet World or something.
they're gonna call it the waterfall or something.
Waterfall.
So.
All right, Cameron, no pressure, but you can get the last movie.
Yep.
Man, can I speed round like 4
No,
rapid fire?
we all made tough choices. You have to make one too.
Okay, then again, he's gonna have a banger of a year. Ben Affleck, I'm gonna go The Way Back. Gavin O'Connor, there's something about like I'm a sucker for a sports movie, and I'm a sucker for older dudes' life is falling apart, and you combine them into you got my chocolate and my peanut butters together. Ben Affleck's playing like an alcoholic who's like life is falling apart, and he's got to coach a team of a bunch of miscreants, and can he get them to the finals? And I'm like, great. And I loved Warrior. I loved some of the stuff. The Accountant's okay. It's weird.
It's super weird.
It's super weird. But there's a lot of stuff Gavin O'Connor has done that I really, and I loved Warrior, so I'm really excited that he's kind of doing another sports movie. He did Miracle. Miracle was, I love Miracle with Kurt Russell. So it's his third sports film. Adding on to that, this sort of like, it sort of feels like, did anyone see The Verdict, the Paul Newman movie? That
Yes,
David Mamet wrote?
David Mamet, yeah.
Where it's like, oh, you were once a great lawyer, now you're an alcoholic mess. Can you do it again? But putting it in sports, I'm like, I'm in. It's like a movie. It's a movie you'll see with like your father or something like that. You'll both cry.
Yeah, it's like the Mighty Ducks meets Dark Knight Returns or something.
Yeah,
I'm gonna come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. That's just a handful of the ones we're looking forward to. There's so many. We didn't talk about Fast and Furious and
I
Fantastic
know.
Beasts, Death on the Nile, and Candyman. There's so many good movies
Candyman.
coming out, or hopefully good movies coming out this year. What are you looking forward to? Are they the ones that we picked? Are there others that you want to see? Stuff that we haven't even heard of? 2020. going to be a fun year. I hope for movies. 2019, I think, has been a hell of a year.
It really
These years that end in 99, 2019. I don't know. I thought we had a lot of great movies this year. Hopefully a lot of great movies in 2020. I want to thank everybody for joining me. Cameron Rice, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can go twitter.com/thecameronrice. Go there, and that's usually what you see me talking about, either photo work or El Rey Nation, things of that nature. Go over there.
Emma Fyffe.
I'm at Emma Fyffe all over the internet, wherever Emma Fyffes are sold.
Ed Greer.
At Ed Greer Destroys on Twitter as well as Instagram. And please check out Nerd Goat Podcast. It's my podcast where we talk to interesting people about their favorite fictional character.
And you can find me right here on Fandom Entertainment and on Twitter at Murrell Dan. Hope you're having a fantastic holiday season. We will be back live soon in a number of days, in a set number of days. You'll find out. Be sure to check out, if you're looking for a movie that came out in 2019 that you haven't seen, Never Surrender, our Galaxy Quest documentary is available now on iTunes. You can check that out. We're super proud of it, super excited. Hope that you like it as well. And we will see you soon. Thanks for watching.